Hello and welcome to After Hours at the Tavern. My name is Chris, as always, and with me are Michael, Hartley, and Maggie. And we're just going to have a quick conversation about the session that you may or may not have just listened to and our thoughts and comments and exciting things, that we want to discuss right before we get into our very next session. So, what'd you guys think?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
My God.
You guys finally met.
We finally met. Is that my biggest question was like when we were meeting, I was like, I wonder if this is how Chris wanted us to meet, but we just kind of sort of clumped
Around
together.
a pile of poop? Was this the plan?
It's almost fitting that the group that rolled this poorly in episode 1 just happens to situate themselves around this steaming
shit.
pile of horse shit.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
cow shit. I think it was cow shit.
Yeah. I do love, though, at least even prior, the first human that you talked to that you weren't like immediately like, hey, here's my entire backstory.
Yes.
You were like, I'm going to be a little guarded. I'm going to be thoughtful. And he was like, fine, guess I'll leave
And I was like,
immediately.
wait,
and
but-
it just broke your little
did.
heart.
It did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel about this. Someone put a knife to my
I
neck.
can't
after
believe you
talking about
offered
the
to
fake.
tell him half
What
of the information.
Yeah, you pick and choose that.
Because I thought about the map and I was like, well, I could tell him about the mountain, but not the 8 dots.
Oh my god.
He
Yeah.
seemed pretty sketchy though. He seemed pretty sketchy.
Hood
And
up. You know, he reminded me of Aragorn.
I have a
I
feeling.
liked it.
Was
yeah.
it the smoking?
I have
Was
a
it the
feeling
hood?
It was
What
the hood. It was just the whole intro.
Knowing Chris's fuckery and knowing him a little bit as a DM,
Hey.
I know that I have a feeling that Thorl is going to be a piece of shit, but this guy is like the good guy, the good friend, the person that I was actually supposed to meet in this small town. But I don't think Dylan knows that, and just I think because of his last interaction, he's a
Yeah.
little guarded with that stuff, and I think that's why he hasn't like been like blah 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 to like you
Yeah.
guys the moment, but.
I liked how you kind of how Dylan behaved around us the moment. You really were the like the push that like got Clue into like joining the like I can't refuse.
Yeah,
You know?
of course. I
Just
think he
too
picked
much
up on the
enthusiasm.
energy, right? And it was just like,
Just a little bouncing ball of glue between us, a sheep
Yeah.
farmer, and like, yeah, just a cart ready to go.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the excitement of the festival, and then just like also talking to Flinthorn and like seeing how sad he was, and I was just like, oh, this is perfect. We can do this for a little bit. It's like how long is it gonna be? You know, we can. Yeah. So, I thought that was a lot of fun. Is that how you envisioned this meeting?
I suspected that you might join forces for this tournament, especially after the events of our very first session, where Flinthorn's team has mysteriously vanished without a trace,
Yeah.
which may or may not be due to the fact that Minx had a brief interaction with them.
Yes, she
session
did.
1.
How does Minx feel about that? How does Maggie feel about that?
I just, I think the consistent thought is just like trying to ignore it of like, I don't know where they are. I can't fix this immediately. And so like fixating on it isn't going to help anything. So it's like, well, we're here, you know, and like obviously, maybe not obviously, like they live here. So it's like,
I just knew
push
the
comes to
nat
shove, they
one.
got to come home.
I think we all around the table knew that that nat one you rolled on the
Yeah.
investigation on those rocks,
Oh, yeah.
that was not coming out to anything good.
I mean, honestly, I might be just as gullible as Dylan is, but I was like, I'm sure they're fine. Like, I'm sure they're actually magical.
Oh
Like,
my
if
God.
they came from the sky and like this is the big setup, then like I'm sure they're. Of course they're poop. Of course, Chris made them painted poop.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's also really funny not to like talk too much about episode 1, but Maggie going over to Dax and saying, "I think these are the most magical
Yeah.
things I've ever seen. Like
Hot
this is
garbage.
This is it."
Oh, he's never
Literal
going to trust
shit.
me again.
Oh, and he just wandered off. He's just drinking alone.
He needed
Yeah.
a drink.
Spiked OJ.
Just
Yeah.
being situated in the lowlands and farming lifestyle was a little too much. On
Yeah.
top of now realizing that you just overpaid for a steaming pile of shit, I think he needs
Overpaid.
a strong drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe how badly I rolled.
You went for the
you
roosters.
murderer.
I thought it was clever.
Murdering was great.
Thank
I
you.
Love that part.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I thought it was a very funny and very character-driven choice.
I loved how quick you were with it when you turned to the guy. I just imagine him for some reason up on like one of those
like a pedestal or like a
what are they called in tennis? Like the
the
like
announcer chairs,
the announcer chair,
yeah,
the referee chair. or
He's up
whatever.
there, and I just imagine you like turning around, being like, "It wasn't specified," holding this big bloody sword covered in blood.
Yeah.
I also picture like you describe Clue as having like a very clean, basically untouched great sword.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is like murder number one.
Yeah,
This sword
And
is
it
just
starts
this
with a
innocent
chicken,
little
a helpless
chicken.
chicken.
Literally like probably in a coop, in a
Yeah,
pan
yeah,
area.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
it was really funny. And then,
Next to all these
unfortunately,
farmers.
like, I don't think Clue is necessarily, at least right now, I think he's a fairly straightforward guy.
Yeah.
And I think the moment he starts chasing after a rooster, he's not going to stop chasing after that rooster.
Right,
It's not.
yeah,
He
that
wasn't
makes
going to
sense.
switch to a
For sure.
brown later. It was just, I keep going after it, and I'm going to either get it or I'm not.
Yeah, the rooster was like the snitch essentially of like.
Is
Yeah.
Clue finally finding a drive in his life?
No.
Just a chicken.
Absolutely not.
just
He's-
the rooster.
I think he's just been like he's haphazardly found himself in this tournament, and he just doesn't like letting people down,
Mhm.
and he doesn't even know that yet.
Mm.
Love it.
Yeah,
Is my bless done? No, I still have it. I mean,
it
the
will be done
event's
because the
done,
tournament's
but
over. Yeah.
When magic happened.
Magic
We had
happened for the
some
first time.
past,
I
yeah.
didn't. I wasn't sure if it was worth it because it was just for saving throws. But I thought maybe if it gets you by one round of a Constitution saving throw, it would be worth it.
I think
It
yeah,
didn't.
I know.
But
I was
It's
rolling
okay.
so
It's
well.
okay.
I was rolling so well.
Yeah.
And then I rolled like shit.
And then you rolled.
And
the
then I
shit.
kept rolling like shit. And then I was like, maybe this time I won't roll like shit. And then I rolled like shit.
Now I
Um,
cannot wait for the next task, and it's also 4 tasks. I wonder is
Five.
5 tasks. I wonder if what's it?
Flynn.
Flynnhorn.
Flynnhorn.
I wonder if Flynnhorn is he going to take one of the next 2? Probably.
I mean,
I would assume so.
Every participant has to participate in at least
at
one.
least
of
one.
these tasks.
Flynnhorn. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna be what I want to say anchor. That's not the right word. The,
Yeah,
like,
no,
the-
anchor,
Is
anchor.
it? Yeah?
Yeah.
The last guy. I feel like that's like, he's just gonna hold it down.
Yeah, you know, at the moment Flynnhorn didn't go 1st,
Mhm.
I was like, he's gonna. But you know what? This makes sense. None of us are farmers. Like
No.
even you,
Well,
Dylan. Dylan
yeah.
is like he comes from farmers,
Yeah.
but it's not like you're necessarily like
I probably would have helped. I would have
helped a little bit, which is probably why you did a little bit better until the end.
Well, I mean, that was
He
pie
didn't grow
eating
up
versus,
eating pies
versus
aggressively.
I think it
I
was
probably would have but done better at the rooster.
Yeah.
Sorry, at the chicken.
and I
chicken
would have
chase.
done way better at the pie
I
eating.
would have done
eating.
so good at
Yeah.
eating pies.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think is very poetic and really good is that you guys don't really know this about my backstory yet, so I'm not going to go into it. But for Chris, the idea that the only role, like I'm not a farmer, that the only role that I succeeded in that whole challenge was my persuasion check.
Yeah, that was good.
And you guys, that'll come into my backstory
Interesting.
later because persuasion is
When
my
you
thing.
persuaded your raccoon.
My raccoon to help.
Yeah.
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 I think the idea that I had was you guys know what you're good at. So if I had introduced each of the activities
Yeah.
first, you guys would, oh yeah, like Hartley will do this one and Mike will do that one just
Yeah.
because like based on stats. But I think it's almost funny that you don't know. So it's
Yeah.
almost like an unknown
Mhm.
success or failure. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm gonna suck at this.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Like
Yeah.
the moment it was pies and throwing up,
It
I was
was
like,
like,
Constitution.
oh, no.
I think
I
it
have
makes sense because you
negative
did have mutton soup
three.
like
Yeah,
Oh,
minutes
and also
before this.
worked
Yeah.
so well. Worked so
Yeah.
well. I'm excited, Maggie, to see what you're gonna have to do.
And
Oh,
I have
God.
a feeling that Chris organized 3 different types of checks for 3 different challenges, and we all got the wrong
I
ones.
know. I'm
for
like,
us.
what skills are left?
I
Not my
know.
good ones.
Not
Yeah.
the good ones.
yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it from me. I don't have anything else really.
I think the Bushel brothers are hilarious.
Oh my God,
love
there is
them.
more to talk
I
about.
just imagine them like no neck, like just
big
beefy
thumbs, walking thumbs.
Yeah, like the thumbs
Yeah.
from Spy Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are. Yeah.
I like the little arms. Little
What was the chant? Bushel brothers.
Bushel Brothers.
So funny.
So funny.
So fun. I think it was a really cool way that we met. I think it's really fun how we all like visited Herschel's farm and you like went up to the door And you're like, hey, get out of here. It's like, oh, well, if he doesn't answer to me, then he doesn't answer to anyone.
Yeah,
Then I
there's
guess
a
he's
little
not
bit of
home.
self-importance
Yeah.
there.
This
There's
is
a little
power
bit of yeah, so funny. It was good. I was afraid we were gonna go too that we were gonna spend too long there.
No. I was like,
There's no way Chris has him at home.
no.
Yeah.
Because that would be too easy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god. So if we send Grub in, he does a little root around.
Yeah, I was trying to
investigation check.
figure something out with
Yeah,
Grub
yeah.
and like seeing if we could get him to go in there. Or something.
No, I was just very thankful that anyone followed me through
Yeah.
my little like shit adventure.
Yeah. I think the whole asking how determined Grub is was
Yes.
very funny.
Yeah.
Very determined in some ways, and I
In
think
some
in
ways.
others,
Yeah.
not at all.
I think he's more determined than Clue is.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
When it comes to food, I'm sure.
that's absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Grub is the
I
adventure.
was actually surprised, Hartley, that at your failure of catching these chickens, not once did you use your morale card.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's that was a unfortunate because I looked down at it at the moment that the task completed.
No.
and I was like,
yeah, it's gonna take some
"Oh,
time to get used to.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it means? It means that I know I'm not doing a lot of rolling before the 5th challenge if we do that, or if I'm a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's better that I saved it for later. Who
You know,
knows?
we could take like a little post-it note, and I can cut into 4 pieces, and when we have a morale card, we can put it on our microphone, just so we have a visual aid to tell us.
Of like,
oh,
Stick it on your forehead.
stick it.
I like that.
The person across from you.
Morale.
Stick it on the person across from you.
from you's forehead.
I like that.
Sweet. Okay. I think we're gonna be doing session 3 right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, we can
eh?
get into it
I
right
think
after
we're
this.
going right into it.
So right after we finish this, we're gonna get into it. So
I
I'm
want to
super
go
excited.
to the festival.
I'm pretty excited. I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited.
Fantastic. Well, anyways, thank you so much for listening to After Hours at the Tavern. Hopefully you
Our
enjoyed
little-
a little behind the scenes, as it were.
Tidbits.
Little tidbits, yeah. Thanks
If
for listening.
If it's called After Hours at the Tavern, we definitely need smooth jazz, either as the intro or as the
I
outro.
already have been. I'm right with you.
All right, and cue the smooth jazz.
We'll probably get actual music.
I
at
think
some point.
I'm pretty sure the smooth jazz will have already come in
At some point.
at some point. Yeah, hey, who knows? Yeah.
All right. Thanks again for listening.
Yeah, bye.